Welcome, guys. I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Sven Kip. He plays out of Tobiano in Kamloops in Canada. Welcome, Sven.
Thanks, Amy.
The Masters is around the corner. It's probably one of the, if I'd probably say you probably know better because you've been, but it's probably one of the most sought after sports tickets in the world.
I'd agree. I mean, definitely a bucket list occasion for, and looking back on it, it's over 10 years now since we were able to go, and the number of things that fell into place to allow us to go. Yeah, definitely one of the best trips of my life.
Tell me, how do you go about and get a ticket for the Masters?
Firstly, it was in the financial crisis, 2008, 2009. So this was 2009, and we'd been looking at tickets online, and to this day, I'm not 100% sure if this is actually allowed or not, but there were people selling their tickets on eBay. So we were just having a look, and the tickets were quite, pricey, and we were umming and ahhing about whether we should do it. And then as it got closer and closer to the tournament starting, some of the ticket prices started to drop a bit. And we'd heard anecdotally that, you'd pay a lot of money for like $1,000 plus or more for a one-day ticket in the past. And suddenly these tickets came up and they were $400 a day. And we could get 3 of them, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, $400 a day. And we had a quick chat, which lasted about 2 seconds. We were like, okay, let's do this. One of my mates put down his credit card and secured these tickets. After that, it was about finding our way to Atlanta. We booked some flights, and on short notice, we ended up on the milk run. We jumped in my mate's truck on I think the Tuesday night at about midnight, drove through to Seattle, which is about 4-hour drive, hopped on a plane in Seattle, and then flew crisscross across the states. And I don't even remember all the places we went to. Like, we flew from Seattle to Houston to somewhere that I don't remember, and then eventually ended up in Atlanta. We booked a hotel there. We had a little bit of a disaster because the ticket payment got cancelled when we were mid-air. And then when we had to catch a connecting flight, they wouldn't let us on because our tickets had been cancelled. But to make a long story short, we got that figured out. We got to Atlanta, got in our hotel, and then basically every day drove a few hours from Atlanta to Augusta and back. But we're on our way. We still didn't know whether this place that we'd bought the tickets from was legit or whether it was a scam. So there was a little bit of trepidation, but the opportunity seemed so good that we took that chance. So we went down on the morning of the Friday morning when we got into Augusta. We had an address. That's where we had to go and pick up our tickets. So we drove down, we found the address. And when we got to the house, we realized that they had a legitimate thing going on. There were quite a number of people. You walked into this house in a suburban neighborhood. They greeted you at the door, and everything was kind of set up. You went to this table, they verified your credit card. The whole experience of then also staying in Atlanta, that was on short notice. Between Atlanta and Augusta, there are no hotels available because everything's sold out, and the amount of money that you're paying to rent a shoddy little room in a little motel just off the highway, it's ridiculous. So we stayed in a decent hotel in Atlanta, but we had to drive, I think it was like 2.5 hours every day there and back for the 3 days that we went. Was a small price to pay.
So Sven, tell me, so if you had to pick out one aspect of what makes getting into Augusta to watch the Masters, what is so special about it? I mean, what do they do differently there? Was it just...
Firstly, I think they do the little things right. They create this atmosphere of exclusivity, first of all, because, you can't sign up or walk up to the gate and get there. We lucked out because of the financial crisis pretty much, but otherwise today it would be almost impossible for us to go, A, because tickets are so scarce, and secondly, if you do find a ticket, it's so expensive. So the whole thing of it being exclusive, you feel like you've won the jackpot to get into the grounds. But once you're in the grounds, you are treated like they don't call them spectators, every patron is treated so well. The concessions are super inexpensive. The merchandise store things are normally priced or even almost discounted. Out of the crowd, you'll think it's another patron, and somebody will just pop up suddenly next to you and say, "How you doing, sir? Hope you're having a great day today." And then you'll walk along and suddenly somebody will pop up and he'll put his hand on your shoulder and say, "Excuse me, sir, just remember, no running. Thank you very much." And then he'll disappear off into the crowd again. So everybody is, it's just a very special atmosphere. And, I'm sure you've heard people say it looks so good on TV. It doesn't look like there's a blade of grass out of place. Well, when you get there, there is not a blade of grass out of place. Like everything is top notch. You don't see a divot. After the day's play, when the mowers come out, they patch the course up so that the next day you don't see a single divot. Everything is filled in. The fill that they use is dyed the exact color of the grass, so it's absolutely pristine. So that's what makes it's special. It looks so good on TV, and you get a sense of that atmosphere. But then when you're in the grounds, it's it's that and more.
I remember you telling me a story, I think, just after you went a couple of years back. But what was you were mentioning something that if you get into the grounds in the morning and you decide, okay, I'm going to go sit at the 16th of par 3 or whatever, and you can kind of, what did you tell me? So you can bookmark your spot and you wander off for the day, and no one touches your spot.
At the merchandise store, you can buy a chair, and I'm pretty sure you could even take your own little fold-up chair. But so we each bought a little fold-up chair, which a lot of people do, and you're allowed to take that chair and go and place it wherever you like. We picked a different spot every day, but on the one day we put our chairs on the 18th green, just that bunker on the right. We put our chairs, as near to that bunker as we were allowed. There's a rope, but we were there at 6:30 in the morning. There was nobody else out there yet, and we put our chairs front row, and we disappeared, and we went and followed whoever we were following and did our thing. Then as the final groups were coming in, we just went up and our chairs were still standing there, and everybody does it, so you're not offending anybody. So you just excuse me, please, and people sort of give you the right of way, and you walk up to your chair in the front and you sit down. It's all the patrons are so accommodating of everybody. There's just such a friendly atmosphere that nobody's, I think everybody is collectively so chuffed to be there. Everybody's just happy. Nobody's bitching or grouchy or, in each other's way. Everybody's just chilled. Yeah. And the one other thing that I was blown away by, and I've heard this from a lot of other people, is the elevation change. You don't really get a sense of how hilly the property is. It's very up and down. The uphill on the second shot on number 1, there's a significant uphill, and the downhill second shot on number 2, the par 5, it's when it goes around the corner there, it's quite significant. Yeah. Okay. So it's very, very undulating piece of property.
Yeah. What an experience. As you say, experience of a lifetime.
Yeah, and you can look back at the highlights from that year and you remember that's where I was standing, or I saw, Anel Cabrera, because he ended up winning, but he won in a playoff with Chad Campbell and Kenny Perry. He ended up winning on the 10th, and we were standing front row at the back of the green right there. Phenomenal.
So we're almost out of time this year. So there's who's your money on? I mean, I think Scotty's running hot. John Rahm is playing some incredible golf, and then I think you can't exclude Rory. I mean, are you seeing someone out of those three that might be lifting the trophy?
Well, you know, back in the day, being South African, I was always a big Ernie fan. So every year the Masters came around, I was like, this is going to be Ernie's year. And I kind of feel the same about Rory now. I just feel like when he's playing well, he's so easy to watch, you know, and I'm really backing him to eventually get over the line there. So I'm hoping it'll be him this year.
It's that last one for you, the 4, I think so. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit of added pressure to close that loop, but yeah, I'm also pulling for Rory. It's as you say, He's so easy on the eye when it's not. I mean, the Scheffler and Rama are fantastic, but when Rory's on his game and he's putting, they struggle to stay with him.
Yeah, I agree.
Sven, I want to thank you very, very much for your time. I'm going to sign off here and thank the viewers for watching, and we'll continue the chat shortly because we're just running out of time here.
Thanks.